Thank you, Mr. Neal. Mr. Reichert is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Ambassador. So your wife and your daughter are in the audience. Is your brother here too?
You know, he's in town and he didn't come today, so I guess I should be very offended.
Yeah, he's off the Christmas list. Hey, first of all, I just want to thank you for recognizing in your opening comments the importance of TPA. I think most members here recognize that TPA is critical to any agreement associated with TPP. I think we've made it very clear on our side of the aisle that if an agreement comes to this Congress without TPA, it's dead on arrival. So I look forward to working with you and other members of our USTR, Ambassador Froman, et cetera, and the administration on moving Mr. Camp's initiative forward for Trade Promotion Authority. It's bipartisan, it's bicameral. A lot of work been done on it, and we need help. We need some help to move that forward here. Also, like to just thank you and your colleagues for the work at WTO in challenging Indonesia's import restrictions on agricultural products. Indonesia, as you know, is a top market for Washington's high-quality apples, and it was very critical for them, and we appreciate your fighting for our growers in Washington State. Got a couple of questions, and I'm happy to see that you've launched negotiations for a plurilateral agreement on environmental goods. This is a significant opportunity, I think, to increase our exports in environmental goods and lower prices for consumers. Are there major global traders in environmental goods that are not currently a part or a party to the negotiation, and what's your plan to bring them into the process?
Well, let me address that very specifically. We have faced this question in other plurilateral discussions about whether or not to sort of actively seek countries' participation in plurilateral negotiations. And I think the viewpoint that we've landed upon is that what makes the plurilaterals work is the fact that the countries that are there are like-minded and want to get a result. And as I mentioned earlier, that doesn't mean we don't have disagreements within the group. It doesn't mean we don't argue with each other and negotiate very hard for national interests. But there is a common desire to reach an agreement and to be ambitious. And so we have not done work. We have deliberately not done work to solicit members to come in to the various plurilateral discussions, whether it's TISA or the Environmental Goods Agreement, because our experience, and this is a metaphor that only works in Washington, so I'm very happy to be able to use it here. This doesn't work in Geneva. It's Tom Sawyer and the picket fence. We want people who want to paint the picket fence on their own. We don't want people negotiating before they come into the negotiation about whether they should be there. And we've had good success with that dynamic in the context of TISA. We started the TISA negotiation, for example, with 15 members, and we've had 8 join that discussion without doing any recruiting. You ask if there are countries outside of the Environmental Goods Agreement that we would like to see in. There certainly are. And I would expect that we will have more that will see it as being in their own interest to be a part of that discussion. We're already hearing inquiries in Geneva, and so I think you'll see that grow over time. But frankly, we already have a very good set there. I think currently about 86% of global environmental goods trade.
Great, thank you. Do you have I'm sure you have a timeline for negotiations, but could you elaborate on your plan to avoid a free rider problem?
There is a free rider problem that is built into plurilaterals that are based on goods trade because of the MFN principle in the WTO. In TISA, we have a very unique situation where the existing WTO rules explicitly allow us to have a plurilateral negotiation whose benefits are not provided on an MFN basis to the rest of the organization. Unfortunately, we don't have that same benefit when it comes to goods trade. And so whether it's ITA or environmental goods, whatever benefits the members decide among themselves, they have to share with the rest of the membership. And as you point out, that creates a free rider problem. What that means is that we're not in a position we won't be in a position to conclude a deal if key players are not a part of it, because there are certain players, for example, China, that we would never allow to be a free rider on something like the Information Technology Agreement or the Environmental Goods Agreement. Fortunately, China is a part of both of those discussions, although in the context of ITA, with mixed results to date. But that is the challenge of having key players inside of the negotiation so that they take on obligations and are not able to free ride.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Time of gentleman has expired. I'll